Hi, this is Dr. Praveen Kumar Kaushik and I welcome you all in Om Learning classes. So as per our previous lecture, we have the important outcome of receiver design and have the modulation technique VSB with carrier or vestigial sideband with large carrier, and this gives the important application scenario, and this modulation technique is utilized in commercial TV broadcasting. So this lecture have the discussion about television broadcasting using vestigial sideband with large carrier modulation technique, and by default which is known as VSB modulation technique. So as per the exact detail of modulation format used to transmit the video signal characterizing a TV system are influenced by two factors. The first factor, in which the video signal exhibits a large bandwidth and a significant low frequency content, and which is the fundamental of VSB. And the second factor, we have the circuitry used for demodulation at the receiver should be simple and cost effective, and the receiver can become simple and cost effective if it utilizes the envelope detector at the receiver end. And that second factor corresponding to VSB plus C means for this second factor provision, we have to transmit a large carrier with our sideband signal as modulated wave, and this large carrier is utilized at the receiver end by utilizing envelope detector, and the envelope detector makes our receiver cost effective and simple, and which fulfill the demand of broadcasting. Broadcasting means we have single transmitter and multiple receiver. So we have the important demand of broadcasting that the receiver circuitry should be simple and cost effective. So for this TV video broadcasting, we are dependent on both the factor. First factor, which is corresponding to bandwidth, and the second factor corresponding to receiver complexity or receiver design. As per the practical fundamental, the channel bandwidth in North America for TV broadcasting is 6 MHz. I repeat, the channel bandwidth is 6 MHz, and the picture carrier frequency is 55.25 MHz, and the audio carrier frequency is 59.25 MHz. So for TV broadcasting, we have the channel bandwidth that is equivalent to 6 MHz. We have the picture carrier frequency is equivalent to 55.25 MHz, and we have audio carrier frequency that is equivalent to 59.25 MHz, and all these parameters are shown in the figure. So in the figure, the channel bandwidth is represented as 6 MHz, and the picture carrier frequency as well as sound carrier frequency, which is corresponding to our audio signal, are represented corresponding to their operating frequency. Now we have the important fact that the USB of the carrier signal is transmitted up to 4.5 MHz without any attenuation, and this is represented corresponding to first figure, and the LSB carrier is transmitted without any attenuation over the range 0.75 MHz, and is entirely attenuated at 1.25 megahertz, and the transition is made in between 0.75 to 1.25 megahertz, which is clearly represented in the diagram. So as per the basic fundamental in VSB, we have the transmission of both the sideband. One sideband is almost completely transmitted, and the other sideband, which is undesired, is a trace or which is also known as vestige, or you can say gradual cutoff of other sideband is also transmitted with our desired sideband. And here in VSB plus C, the carrier signal is also transmitted with our desired sideband and gradual cutoff vestigial sideband. So we have another practical aspect, that the audio signal which accompanies the video signal is transmitted by frequency modulation method using a carrier located at 4.5 megahertz above the video carrier signal. So you have the clarity in your understanding that in TV broadcasting we have audio signal as well as video signal, and this video signal is transmitted by VSB plus C modulation scheme, and the audio signal is transmitted by using frequency or FM modulation technique. So the audio and video utilize two modulation scheme as per their application scenario, and this FM modulation scheme have the important thing that the FM audio signal has 25 kilohertz frequency deviation and 10 kilohertz audio bandwidth with a deviation ratio of 2.5. So these are the characteristics corresponding to FM, and the FM bandwidth is approximate equal to 70 kilohertz, and I utilize both the factor for video transmission as well as for audio transmission, so that the concept of this practical scenario of television broadcasting is completely illustrated. And finally, we have the important point that a frequency range of 100 kilohertz is allowed on each side of the audio carrier signal for audio sideband. And by utilizing both the figure and these important practical points, we have the complete understanding of television broadcasting, and which is performed by two modulation technique. The first, that is utilized for video, which is VSB plus C or vestigial sideband with large carrier, and for audio transmission we have the frequency modulation scheme, which is known as FM. By utilizing both the technique, we have the practical exposure about television broadcasting, and this is very important for you all because we have this practical application of TV broadcasting in our domestic life. So thank you very much for your precious time. Stay healthy and enjoy smart learning, and please subscribe this channel for getting regular updates. Thank you very much.